It's time for Let's Chat with Russtek, a podcast dedicated to helping entrepreneurs just like you. When starting out, entrepreneurs often feel they need to go it alone, and I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. Entrepreneurs have a lot of questions, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Nick Russell, and this is Let's Chat with Russtek. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat with Russtek. My name is Nick Russell, and this is kind of a day in the life type of a podcast. This is a reintroduction to who I am and how I could help you as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. Now, I kind of want to take things way back to kind of how I got started with this, so I have a better idea of who I am and what I've learned along the way. And then I want to transition into kind of a day in the life, how I work as an entrepreneur and how I get things done. And that story will hopefully help you see how I get things done and maybe tweak to have that work for you as well. So for me, I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I never thought I would be a business owner. Because back when I was going to school, that wasn't talked about, that wasn't popular, that just wasn't something we did. Now, for me, going way back, the biggest thing for us was a trade. Trades were absolutely booming back then, and especially in the Windsor, Essex kind of area, tool and die was absolutely massive. Back then, we had Chrysler, Ford, and GM were all major players in the city. Unfortunately, now we've lost GM out of the area, but back then, the big three were huge. So the tool and die trade, feeding the dies and all that stuff to the big three, making parts for them, was just a huge industry to be in. So I listened to my parents. That's where the money was, and I did that. Now, I was absolutely miserable in that field, and luckily, one of the shop owners kind of transitioned me to the IT department, which helped me into my IT career after that. Because again, I was very miserable in that tool and die, that trade area. Getting back into school again after being in the IT, being in paramedicine was kind of where my heart was. I was working with the University of Windsor as a paramedic there, and I kind of wanted to transition into that. Now, the cool thing, maybe it's not so cool for paramedics nowadays, but at the time, working at the beer store, when I was doing that part-time going to school, I made more than a paramedic. So I had to make that decision. Did I want to continue forward, become a paramedic, or make more money in kind of a retail setting? And obviously I love beer, so I stuck with that. And now fast forward 16 years later, all the advancements and all that I learned using Facebook, Twitter, and eventually Instagram to promote the Returns for Leukemia bottle drive kind of set me up for my love of not only social media, but my love of marketing, and how that transitioned into me starting Russtek. Now, starting Russtek was a very bumpy ride. Starting a business is always bumpy. It's never easy, and it's still not easy. But there are different systems and different routines that I've kind of developed over the last number of years in order to stay productive, to stay what's the best word for that? To kind of keep pace with what's going on and kind of get ahead of the game. So some of these routines are what I want to talk about today. Now, for me, this is what works for me. Now, two of the biggest tools that I use are obviously Todoist. Todoist for me is a game changer. I've been using Todoist for a number of years now, and it basically runs not only the business, but it runs my personal life as well. It helps me kind of stay on top of things. As well, the next tool is my Rocketbooks. My Rocketbook Panda Planner right now it comes with me everywhere. I absolutely love how it keeps me organized and just the ability to take notes on the fly, scan them to the cloud, erase that page, and then continue with it. I don't have a whole bookshelf full of 20, 30, 40 planners and notebooks that I hardly go back to. It's hard to find notes where here, if I need to get something, it's quick, it's easy, it's in the cloud, it's something I wrote down in the panel planner, scanned it, and I could reuse this. I have one, well, I've got a few Rocket books, different types, but it's basically one planner, and I don't need to buy another one ever again because it's reusable. So for me, how I structure my day is I kind of start the morning really early. I try to get up at 5:30, in and around there, and that's my quiet time. I get up. That's my time to read a chapter or two, maybe three, in whatever book I'm reading currently, just to kind of get that my brain flow, get that thought process going, kind of exercise my brain. And once that's done, once I've had my first coffee and I've read a couple chapters, it's time to kind of get ready for the day. Then the first thing I do is I open up a desk in the computer, which has all the different tabs that I use, and then it has Todoist. Todoist opens up, and I can see my day. I can see all the tasks that I need, what times they need to be done, and then on the other monitor, my Google Calendar has all the time blocks for that day. So they're there, and I can see them. But one of the best tools, one of the best productivity hacks, I guess you would call it, is actually physically writing it down. So that's where I sit down, I take my Rocket book, take the Panda Planner, and I write out a number of different things every single morning. Now, I plan out my whole week on Sunday, like I've talked about, but during each morning, when I sit down at the desk, I write down a number of things. I start out with what I'm grateful for. Three things that I'm grateful for. It could be something like my family. I'm grateful for a beautiful sunny day in November. I'm grateful for my coffee. It could be a tired morning. It could be tired and exhausted, but I'm grateful for that coffee. Whatever the case may be, I write down three things that I'm grateful for. Then I write down three things I'm excited about for that day, for today, that what's going to happen today. These are three things I'm excited about. It could be something to do with work, could be that Montreal Canadiens are playing tonight and I get a chance to watch some hockey. It could be I have a really great meeting coming up. I'm excited about that. Whatever the case is, I write down three things that I'm excited about. Then I write down an affirmation. This kind of gets me in a right mindset for the day. I mean, all three of those kind of get you into that right mindset, that positive, productive mindset. Then from there, what I'll do is I'll take what I have on Todoist, and I'll take the top 10 tasks, the biggest tasks that I have, and I'll write down those tasks. These are the top 10 tasks that if I don't complete these 10, the day wasn't successful, wasn't a productive day. So those have to get done. So I'll write those down. As I'm writing them down, that kind of puts that front and center in my mind. So I know what needs to get done that day. And I'm not stressing, okay, did I do this? Do I need this? What do I need to have? What needs to happen today? What do I need to do? Writing it down puts that front and center in my mind. Now, I've talked about the book Eat the Frog, Eat That Frog, or however it's worded. But from there, I take the top three tasks out of the 10. Those are the three biggest, most time consuming tasks that I have. And I write those down. Once I tackle those three tasks, the tasks kind of get easier. You funnel down to the easiest task. I'll look at the next, I'll have the next three, all the way until you have your to-do list done here, and until I get Todoist 0 from all the tasks I have there. And then what I'll do is on the agenda section, I'll write down any meetings, any calls that I have. So they're front and center. So I don't miss, oh, at 2 o'clock, I have this call. So I'll write down in my agenda what I have. Now, once all of that's done, it's time to get to work. So I know the tasks that have to get done. I look at my time blocks and then I start working on those tasks. When I do that, I take my phone, I put it on the charger plate, and I have all the notifications shut off. So that way nothing disturbs me. Now that turned on when I picked it up, but nothing disturbs me. I don't get notifications. And I focus for that hour, maybe 2 hour time block on the task that has to get done. Once I'm done that, I'll get up, kind of walk around a bit, stretch, kind of get the blood flowing again, get away from the screens. Then I sit back down, kind of look at the notifications if there was anything important, and then focus on that next block, that next hour, next 2 hour time block, and go hard on those tasks and get all of those done. Now, once I'm finished with the day, I kind of try to get my day done in and around that 4 to 5 mark. And once that's done, get my dinner set. I'm old, sit down, watch the news, get my dishes done, and then I could sit down in my man cave slash reading chair, my little corner, my spot to relax. And then I'll go over the top 3 things that happened, my 3 wins for the day. What was amazing about that day? I completed this task. I got to do a 0. I did this. Had a great call, whatever the case may be. I write those down so it gives me a very positive ending to the day. And then I'll go, what can I do to keep that momentum going forward? What did I learn from today that I could use tomorrow to make that better? And I'll write a sentence or 2 down in the section moving forward, and that kind of sets you up for the next day. That gives you in the right mindset already to start the day. And then it's my time to relax. If there's a hockey game on, as I'm recording this podcast tonight, there's a Montreal Canadian game on. So I'm going to watch that. I'm going to throw my Nick Suzuki jersey on, and I'm going to enjoy the hockey game. If there's not a hockey game on, maybe playoff baseball this time of year, I'll put on a football game. Maybe it's Thursday night or a Monday night, or I'll catch up on a show, typically a Blue Bloods or SWAT or something like that I didn't get a chance to watch. And I have a queue of shows I need to catch on. I'll catch up for those in an hour, maybe 2 hours worth of shows, and then I'll wind down for the night, shut my electronics off, and give the next hour to kind of settle myself, get into bed, and start all over the next day. So that's typically how my day goes. That's what a typical day in the life of looks like for me and how I get things done. Now, hopefully that's helped you. Hopefully you kind of take some pieces from that, and that helps you stay a little more productive and helps you with a routine. And like I said, we're kind of focusing on helping entrepreneurs grow digitally, helping entrepreneurs grow online with the different social media platforms, as well as helping entrepreneurs stay more productive. More on that in the next little while. But if that's something you're interested in, let's have a conversation. Let's book a call and we'll chat about where you are in your business and how we could help you grow. So anyways, that's all we have for you this week. Hopefully you enjoy the podcast, and I can't wait to chat with you again next week.